People, what up? What's good? Y'all know what time it is. It's Balance Update Day, where we do what? We look at the changes, we talk about them. Let's not waste no time. Y'all hit that like button. We're on the road to 3K subs. So feel free to subscribe too, because by this time next year, even though we on the road to 3K, we're going to be at 5K, right? Believe it. All right, so let's look at these cards, man. We got a very interesting, very controversial patch right here. Y'all see Big Loki. We definitely going to spend some time talking about him. They changed Beast, Taskmaster, Cannonball, Destroyer, Copycat, and y'all see I skipped my favorite right here, Big Atuma. Big Atuma, not a nice. Before we even look at the changes though, I like this. I like this selection of cards, right? Cannonball, Atuma, Destroyer, right? Cards that I feel like, we don't really hear about, we don't really get to see about. So we gonna find out what they had to say about these guys and why they changed them. So obviously, Atuma's old ability, let's read it right here. Fort costs 10 power. After each turn, destroy this if you have another card here. And now they changed it to, it's still 4 costs 10 power, but after each turn, destroy one of your cards here with less power. Before I even read what they have to say, even though for some reason they gave it a yellow arrow, I think this is just a buff, right? They could have just gave it a green arrow. Like, his ability is better now. Obviously, you can use him in the exact same way that you could before, right? With a obviously 0 to negate his ability, or hide him behind armor. That way he wasn't getting destroyed. And so you're just going to be able to, one, negate his ability, still protect your other cards rather than protect him from getting destroyed. And now you could put this on your destroy deck, man. Y'all know all we got for the destroy decks is armor and Cosmo. We need somebody else, right? They can't keep up with all this, bruh. It's getting too much. We need Armor Junior or something, right? But let's go ahead and read, and then I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more. This would be Warlord of the Seas saw some meaningful play early on, combining with armor or 0 to be an efficient 4-cost source of power. However, the surge in strength of cards that can fill enemy slots at a location has made it very difficult for Atuma to justify play in any deck, even with synergy with cards like Scar. Given we also want more cards that are good against these clog strategies, we decided to Uno reverse with Atuma here and rework the design to focus on maximizing Atuma at the cost of other cards. This simultaneously makes Atuma an enabler for things like X23, while also counter against cards like Green Goblin. I mean, y'all, this is great. This is great. Y'all see him posed up with the sword? He ready to be used now. Right? But I think that's also a good note, man. Being able to deal with obviously with a destroy deck, you could already deal with the junk type, clog type decks, whatever you want to call it, right? Because Deathlock, you could destroy them. Venom, you could eat them. Carnage, you could eat them. But now, Atuma is just another option. Not Destroyer, even though he is, but Atuma is another option, man. I think, obviously you can use it in the same way. You can use it as like an anti-clog, anti-junk measure. And now you also have another choice for your destroy decks. I think this is especially good for the newer players, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's right here. He's a pool 3 card, right? So you might not have cards like Nimrod. I'm not sure if Noel is still series 4 or not, but you might not have Noel, Nimrod, even X23, right? Some of the, series 4, series 5 destroy deck cards. But now you can not only use him alongside those cards, but you can use him in place of that, right? I mean, it's just good, right? This is a great card now, y'all. This is a fantastic card. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, y'all, let me know what y'all think about Atuma. I mean, look, y'all. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, this is just a great change. But like I said, man, we need armor and Cosmo to get some help, bro. That's obviously always gonna be the way you counter a destroy deck. But I mean, if they just keep making the destroy archetype stronger and not giving us any countermeasures to deal with, the destroy archetype is gonna be tough, right? So that's all I'm really gonna say about that. Let's move on to Loki, man. Y'all know I hate Loki. I've been hating Loki since before he came out. So his previous ability was on reveal. So 3 cost 5 power. Replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Give them -1 cost and draw a card. Now he's 2 cost 2 power. On reveal, replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Give those cards -1 cost. So you essentially get a little bit cheaper, but you lose 3 power and you lose the draw a card, man. I'm gonna be honest, we're gonna read what they have to say, obviously, but it once again, you guys, they changed Loki so many times. It really seems like they don't know what they're doing to the card. I'm gonna read what reasoning they have, but I don't even think you believe it. You believe their reasoning if you've read it. I haven't read it, but because here's the thing, you guys. Nobody was complaining about Loki until what card got added to the game? I already said this. Keeping Arshem in the game is going to make balancing certain cards impossible. Here it is. You know what I mean? You throw Loki on the Arshem deck, you now have a turn 1 Loki. Right? Even though you lose it's a little bit less reliable, given that you can't play your Quinjet, or you can still play your Quinjet first, but your Loki's just gonna be weaker, right? But I mean, they don't. It's clear to me that they don't know what they're doing, bro. Let's read what they have to say. We got a big paragraph right here. When we updated Loki earlier this month, we said we'd come back quickly if necessary. While some doubted his strength early on, we've since seen Loki's performance prove that the updated card was one of the strongest in the game. That overshot our goal by a bit, though we were happy to see some of the resulting shifts. We're going to try and tone down Loki by making the power less efficient for the cost as we remove the draw and move the card down the curve. If this doesn't work, we may return to adjusting the effect. Why not just take away the draw and leave it at 3/5 or 3/4? Well, one element of Loki we are loud and clear from our earlier playtest was that the number of Loki cards you can access was a big part of enjoying the card. 3 often felt too low. That's why we added the draw in the first place last time. So they are playtesting the cards, and they still don't. Y'all let me know in the comments if you know who's playtesting. Tell me. I'm trying to get on the playtesting team, bro. Look, man, I got a year of experience playing Marvel Snap, right? I think I know a little bit about the game, bro. But I mean, it might be weaker. I don't like. Once again, man, give it its old stats. Just make Arshem a game mode instead of a card. I truly still believe that Arshem is the mistake, even though they nerfed him, twice? Even though they nerfed him, I still think he's a mistake, bro. It just makes balancing these cards weird, a lot more difficult than it needs to be. That's all I got on Loki. Y'all let me know what y'all agree or disagree with me, bro. Cause up next we got Copycat. So what did they change here? So her old was, when you draw this, steal the text from the bottom card of your opponent's deck. When you draw this, copy. All right, so you're not stealing anymore. We got Copycat. She's copying now. She's not stealing. I like it. Makes sense. Given her name, y'all know I don't know anything about her as a character, but her name alone, it makes a lot more sense to me, right? So, I mean, it just seems like now she's just a better version of White Queen, right? Let's see what we got. We're making a light tweak here. We're making a light tweak to Copycat here, as the card has seen a more dramatic play rate than we expected, and decks have also been shuffled more often than we guessed they would be. Stealing a card's ability isn't a huge part of the fun for the Copycat player. What you mean? They're having a great time. I'm not. Stealing a card's ability isn't a huge part of the fun for the copycat player. How? Yes, it is, bruh. The opponent's not getting an exciting ability, and the information is most of the play. The ability being stolen has mostly turned out to just be a frustrating part of the opponent having the card, so we're replacing it with a simple copy. Makes sense. I like it. It's a good change. No longer as cheap of a card as she was, because it's kind of like, you run Yondu and Copycat. First of all, you don't even have to play Copycat to impact your opponent in a negative way, and that's crazy, right? At least something had to be done, and I like what they did here, right? I'm not going to try to make it sound a lot more complicated. I like it. Y'all let me know if you agree or disagree with the change. Let's keep it going. Big beast, big body beast. So they kept his ability the same. They changed him to 3-5. Let's see why they did this. While it's true that bounce decks have been very strong lately, that's only part of why we're making this update. We have some upcoming new cards and changes to existing ones that will impact beasts' strength, and we determined that the most appropriate solution was to return to big beast, and move it back up. They said we need big beast back, so it seems like they're doing this like preemptively. Obviously, I looked at all the leaked cards. I forget who immediately synergized with beast, but y'all could go back and look at those videos. Somebody apparently they saw something. They said we can't do that, right? So 3-5. It's still cool, right? Your bounce decks are still, they are what they are. They're not as strong. Probably just gonna Falcon first. Honestly, you use beast later, right? So I guess 2 cost isn't that big of a. Yeah, actually it is, because you were able to do more things at a later turn, but now you get a little bit more power back. So it's all right? Not too much to say about beast, but this is another very interesting change. We got Taskmaster right here. So they changed them to 6-0 instead of 5-0. So the first thing I could think of, and obviously, like I said, man, we're going to read, but y'all know I like to give my preemptive thoughts sometimes. The first thing I think of, that got nerfed very hard is the Shuri Sauron deck, right? Obviously, Shuri Sauron's been around for a minute. And I feel like it's strong every season. It's just kind of boring to use. But I think the great thing about the Shuri Sauron deck was it's all Series 3 and below, so it's accessible to any player, right? So them nerfing that deck is interesting. I don't know if I like it. Maybe let's go ahead and read why they decided to nerf Taskmaster though. So this change might seem a bit more out of left field, but it's oddly similar. Players sometimes ask about cards like Silver Surfer and Killmonger being design constraints, and they can be. Taskmaster has quietly been another as well, offering a clean and consistent way to duplicate pure power. While it's been a while since Taskmaster was truly problematic, our most competitive playtesters identified some upcoming decks where 5-cost Taskmaster was just going to be so it's another preemptive thing, way too much. Normally, our default practice is to let the metagame sort itself out. In these kind of situations, discovering something busted is often pretty fun. However, in this case, the concerns were so substantial and the deck so strong that we decided to shortcut to the post-nerf state, which we still believe will support some great decks. Have fun looking for them. You shouldn't expect to see this sort of preemptive action often going forward either. Interesting. So they did 2 like preemptive nerfs, and they said that we shouldn't expect to see that. First of all, we're gonna find out whether that's true or not, and second of all, I'm not sure if I like the sound of that, honestly. Right? Like why if you have play testers, why let something be broken on release? What are the goals of the balance? What are the goals of these are called card balance updates. What are the play testers for? If they're playing, if they get to see cards before they come out to test them, you understand me? If they're able to identify that the cards that are going to come out are out of hand, why say that you're not going to make more changes like this? That doesn't make sense to me. Like it just doesn't sound like I don't really, I just don't like that, y'all. I don't like that. So I mean, obviously, right, if we look at Taskmaster as is, you got Shuri Sauron, you got your Mr. Negative, probably you're gonna be copying Sage, right? Wong, Negative Wong, Sage, Taskmaster, Iron Man, Mystique, that type of thing, right? I'm not really, honestly, you guys, I already gave my thoughts about the nerf itself, but it's just the language and the explanations that they give for some of these changes and some of their decisions. It's like it just leaves a bad taste, bruh. Like, all right, man, let's move on though. Cannonball brought him back up to 5'8". I honestly don't really have a in-depth opinion about Cannonball. I mean, I thought he was strong at 5'8". I thought he was strong at 5'7". It's gonna be interesting. We know move decks are gonna get a lot stronger because of like Madam Web, and all the move stuff you're gonna be able to do, with Human Torch and all them in the very very soon season coming up, right? So it's interesting that they buff Cannonball, because if you're gonna see a lot of move decks, a lot of move cards, right? If we can expect to see that, it's gonna be interesting to use a card like Cannonball, because it's kind of seeming like you're going to be benefiting your opponents a lot, depending on like how many move cards are in the meta. It's interesting, man. We adjusted Cannonball. Cannonball is powered down in an abundance of caution earlier this year. This card's play rate and win rate were very high, and we wanted to ensure, in concert with other changes, that the metagame will shift appropriately. It has, and we're comfortable returning Cannonball to 5'8". Also, another thing to note, y'all, is Professor X was still good before they nerfed Cannonball. So you had the Professor X on turn 4, because he was still compatible with Ravonna back then, and you had Cannonball to get like a free destroy because you weren't able to move cards into the Professor X lane, because his ability didn't work like that at that point. So I mean, this is an interesting change, right? I don't have Cannonball. It's a pool 5. You got to pay 6k tokens, and if you don't get it when it comes out, you gotta wait months. Let's go to Destroyer. On reveal, so brand new ability for Destroyer though. 6 cost, 14 power, so they took away a little bit of power. On reveal, destroy your cards at other locations. Interesting. So it makes them a little bit more compatible with destroy decks, but it also kind of, it's also a weird change, because Obviously the main card that was used with Destroyer was Nimrod after Ashuri, right? So if you're destroying the cards at other locations, it's kind of conflicting because you typically, because Destroyer was strong enough, you typically want to play him on that Nimrod lane, so you get your 12 power Nimrods in the other 2 lanes, spread your power out a lot better. But now, since it's only at the other locations, you can't play it in that same Nimrod lane, so I kind of don't like it, for that reason, right? We're sure many of you have a soft spot for Destroyer from these earlier days, using Zero Armor or Cosmo to dodge the downside with maybe a side of Warpath to win the second location. However, this rad card has struggled to find its legs in later stage play, so we decided to change the effect to give it a better chance at supporting cards like Nimrod and Death. It doesn't support Nimrod better, I just explained why. Given how well Destroyer can challenge to win its own location, we're also taking back a bit of power as compensation. I don't like their reasoning, but I kind of like the change. Are you going to, you have an option, you have a pool 3 option to put on your Destroy deck that is now more of a viable choice, right? If you're missing a card like Noah. But at the end of the day, man, you're probably honestly still just gonna, if you want to destroy your guys, you're probably honestly just gonna do boost your Venom and then Arnim Zola the Venom, right? Because there's plenty of games where you're running your Destroy deck. By turn 6 you got a free death, you got extra energy from X23, you got your Deadpool boosted, you got your Venom boosted, and then you just Arnim Zola, you put down your free death, you put down your Deadpool, and you eat your Wolverine again. Like, there's probably honestly still no place for Destroyer in the standard Destroy deck. But if you don't have Noah, like, I guess you could kind of use it now. It in the old school Destroyer based Destroy deck, right, that made use of Zero Armor and Cosmo, it's worse, right, because of how the interaction with Nimrod is going to work now. So it's kind of a nerf in that regard. This is an interesting patch, man. It's some things I like, some things I don't like. Mainly the things I don't like had to do with the explanations they give for the changes that they make. Like, it doesn't seem like they're changing some of these cards for the right reasons, and they're like accidentally stumbling on a new stat line that works, right? Like Beast and Taskmaster were preemptive changes, so we can't really comment on that until I guess we see what cards come out in the upcoming seasons and understand why they had to change them. But they say that they're going to make preemptive changes now, and then they're not going to do that later, so we're going to get some broken cards later, even though they know they were broken because they play tested them, but they're still going to release them in that broken state, and then they're going to wait till the balance update to change them, even though, like I said, they have play testers. You know what I'm saying? It's some weird stuff, man. I think I'm about done. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. As always, man, y'all be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Run the road to 3K subs. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.